Good morning. Can you hear me?
Ms. Narvaez is having issues. Can you hear us now, ma'am?
I can hear you, Mary, but not the group.
Okay. When the microphones are on, ma'am, you should be able to hear, but we're good when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Good morning. My name is Emma Nevarez, and I'm the chair of the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. It is, 9:50 a.m. on July 23rd, 2025, and I would like to call to order the meeting of the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. Please be aware that this meeting is being broadcast live via the internet. Members, when I call your name, please announce present. Myself, Emma Nevarez, present. Daniel Wong, vice chair. I'm not getting any audio.
He's not present.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Javed Anwar,
Present.
Stacy Hawk,
Present.
Ashley Thomas,
Present.
Lisa Cantu.
Present.
Please record in the minutes that we have a quorum. Agenda item 2 is consideration and possible action to adopt the minutes for the April 23, 2025 committee meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the April 23 meeting minutes of the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success?
So moved.
I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 3 is public testimony on agenda items related to the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. We do not have anyone registered to testify, so we will go on to the next item. Agenda item 4 is consideration and possible action to adopt the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes non-controversial items that we think can be approved without comment or discussion. This allows us to save time for other items that need more of our attention. Highlighted items in gray are on the consent items on the agenda. We're going to take up the consent calendar in 2 parts: approval of the non-rule consent items and the rule consent agenda items. Of course, any board member can request that an agenda item be added or removed from the consent calendar. The non-rule agenda items listed on the consent for this meeting are 5A, consideration and possible action to adopt the recommendation relating to the January 2025 annual compliance reports for institutions under a certificate of authorization, names beginning with A through O. 5B, consideration and possible action to approve the report to the board on school closures and/or teach-outs pursuant to Board Rule 7.76. 5C, consideration and possible action to approve the name change of Tarleton State University's off-campus single institution from Tarleton Southwest Metroplex Center to Tarleton State Fort Worth. 5D, consideration and possible action to approve the report on the effectiveness of the Open Education Resource Grant Program. 5E, consideration and possible action to approve the report on off-campus instruction. 5F, consideration and possible action to approve the 2025 Autism Grant Program Annual Progress Report. 5H, consideration and possible action to appoint members to 1. Apply Texas Advisory Committee, 2. Certification Advisory Committee, 3. Learning Technology Advisory Committee, 4. Opportunity High School Diploma Advisory Committee, and 5. Texas Transfer Advisory Committee. 5I, update on activities of the Certification Advisory Council, Texas Education Code 61.314, Lower Division Academic Course Guide Manual Committee, and Texas Transfer Advisory Committee, Texas Education Code Section 61.822A-1. Members, are there any other agenda items that anyone would like to add to the consent calendar? Are there any agenda items anyone would like to remove from the consent calendar? If not, can I have a motion to approve the non-rule consent calendar?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Members, the next items on the consent are the rule items. The rules placed on the consent calendar are those that are either technical, conforming, or implement non-controversial policies around which there is consensus. 501, consideration and possible action to adopt the recommendation relating to the 4-year rule review of Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter D concerning the Apply Texas Advisory Committee. 502, consideration and possible action to adopt the proposed amendment to Board Advisory Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter G, Section 1.131 concerning the Apply Texas Advisory Committee. 503, consideration and possible action to adopt the recommendations relating to the 4-year rule review of Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter H, concerning the Certification Advisory Council. 504, consideration and possible action to adopt amendments to Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter H, Section 1.138, concerning duration of the Certification Advisory Council. 505, consideration and possible action to adopt the recommendation relating to the 4-year rule review of Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter I, concerning the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee. 506, consideration and possible action to adopt amendments to Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter I, Section 1.45, concerning duration of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee. 507, consideration and possible action to adopt new Board Rules Chapter 1, Subchapter X, concerning the Program of Study Advisory Committee. 508, consideration and possible action to repeal Board Rules Chapter 2, Subchapter L, Section 2.268, concerning effective date rules. 509, consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 2, Subchapter L, Section 2.263, and add new sections 2.268 and 2.269 concerning criteria for approval process for a career and technical education certificate, special requirements for commercial driver's license training programs, and effective date of rules. 5010, consideration and possible action to adopt amendments to Board Rules Chapter 4, Subchapter B, Section 4.32, concerning field of study curriculum. 5012, consideration and possible action to repeal Board Rules Chapter 9, Subchapter B, Sections 9.21 to 9.27, and 9.30 to 9.32, concerning general provisions for program development in public 2-year colleges. 5013, consideration and possible action to repeal Board Rules Chapter 9, Subchapter C, subsections 9.51 to 9.54, concerning purpose, role, and mission of public 2-year colleges. 5014, consideration and possible action to repeal Board Rules Chapter 9, Subchapter H, Sections 9.141 to 9.144, 9.146, and 9.147, concerning partnerships between secondary schools and public 2-year colleges. 5015, consideration and possible action to repeal Board Rules Chapter 26, Subchapters A through P, concerning Program of Study Advisory Committees. Whew. Members, are there any other rule agenda items that anyone would like to add to the consent calendar? Are there any rules that anyone would like to remove from the rule consent calendar? Great. Can I have a motion for the approval of the rule consent calendar?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda items 5A through 5F were approved on consent. Agenda item 5G is an update on doctoral and professional degree programs, progress reports received by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, Texas Administrative Code, Title 19, Section 2.182. Elizabeth Mayer, Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs, will present this item and be available for questions. Members, this is for information only.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Mayer, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs of the Coordinating Board. So the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board monitors each newly approved doctoral and professional program for the first 5 years following implementation. The requirement for annual progress reporting is outlined in the Administrative Code, Chapter 2, Section 2.182. So institutions are required to submit progress reports in years 1, 3, and 5. This update provides the board with an overview of all doctoral and professional programs currently within the 5-year monitoring period. Each section includes a table summarizing projected and actual enrollment, program costs, the number of students advancing to candidacy or graduating, and whether initial faculty hiring and resource commitments have been fulfilled. And as mentioned, this is just an update. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Mayer? Okay, thank you. Agenda items 5H1 through 5H5 were approved on consent. Agenda item 5I1 was approved on consent. Agenda item 5I2, update on activities of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, Texas Administrative Code Title 19, Section 1.191. Mr. Patrick Plush, Chair of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, will provide a brief update of activities and be available to answer questions. Members, you have supplemental materials printed on goldenrod paper, and this item is also for information only. Mr. Plush.
Sorry, I had to turn on the mic. Good morning, Chair Navarez, Commissioner Rosser, and distinguished members of the committee. I'm Patrick Plush, Executive Director of Digital Learning at the University of North Texas, and as Chair of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, LTAC, I'm pleased to present the annual report on committee activities. As was mentioned, the first page of the report is missing from the printed agenda, but is included in the supplemental materials provided on goldenrod paper. LTAC is a long-standing advisory committee that engages in substantive policy research and discussion regarding the role that learning technology plays in Texas higher education. LTAC informs the coordinating board on how distance education and computer-assisted instruction, including e-learning tools such as electronic textbooks and open course materials, can help the state reach the goals of building a talent-strong Texas. LTAC consists of 24 institutional representatives, including 1 student representative, and has held 4 hybrid meetings since the last annual report. LTAC examined a variety of topics during the above reported meetings pertaining to distance education and learning technology, including digital learning practices at institutions, open educational resources, the principles of good practice for distance education, institutional plans for distance education, abbreviated IPDE, adapting to innovation, proposed distance education rules and activities related to the Department of Education, SARA regulations, and research activities and findings related to distance education. Subcommittees of LTAC have implemented processes to review IPDEs, including documentation submission, review, approval, recommendations, and sharing out of best practices. This past year, the LTAC Adapting to Innovation Subcommittee, comprised of LTAC members and recommended institutional experts, has been instrumental in shaping the direction of the Adapting to Innovation initiative, which continues to drive meaningful progress in helping Texas institutions respond to rapid change, especially in the areas of digital transformation. This initiative was launched to support higher education's ability to adapt with agility, not just in moments of disruption, but as a long-term strategy for institutional resilience and relevance. As we wrap up work for this fiscal year, we're preparing 3 key deliverables to sustain impact. The Adapting to Innovation Playbook, an action-oriented guide capturing lessons and strategies. A free open course Gen AI strategies for college and university educators, available via OER Texas. And the Adapting to Innovation Hub in OER Texas, a centralized space for research, tools, case studies, and connections that support long-term innovation and collaboration in higher education. This initiative has shown that when we equip institutions with the right tools and the right support, they can move quickly, think boldly, and lead change in ways that truly benefit students. LTAC has historically surveyed Texas institutions on digital education and learning technologies in order to understand the landscape of support provided to students. This year, the committee supported both state and national survey efforts. In the 4th Biennial OER Landscape Survey administered by the Division of Digital Learning in partnership with ISKME, the Institute for the Study of Knowledge Management in Education, LTAC provided input to update specific survey questions in order to reflect areas of impact on OER, including emerging technologies, as well as improved data gathering and question simplification to increase institutional response rates. And committee also refined survey questions that were included on a national survey administered by Bayview Analytics regarding course materials affordability that will allow comparing perspectives between Texas faculty and national faculty. The LTAC also initiated a student subcommittee made up of students nominated by current LTAC members and chaired by our LTAC student member. This group of students was instrumental in serving as the student voice for our committee discussions. Several students were also connected to opportunities to serve as panelists in Division of Digital Learning webinar events such as Texas Digital Learning Week and our AI-empowered webinar series. LTAC was also actively involved in planning Texas Digital Learning Week events and the annual Digital Summit hosted by the Division of Digital Learning in February of 2025. LTAC will do so again in this coming year for both Texas Digital Learning Week in November and the Digital Learning Summit in February 2026. In closing, I'd like to recognize the institutional representatives of the coordinating board and the coordinating board leadership and staff with whom I have the privilege of serving. Under the leadership of Commissioner Rosser, the contributions of the hardworking Division of Digital Learning team have continued to accelerate progress in the digital learning space statewide while providing a guiding light as we continue to navigate toward a bright future for educating Texans. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, do we have any questions for Mr. Plush? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda items 5I, 3, and 4 were approved on consent. Agenda item 5J is an update on activities of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee, including the report on trusteed funds distributed in fiscal year 2025 and consideration and possible action to adopt the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee's recommendations relating to the distribution of funds trusteed to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to support family practice residency programs for fiscal year 2026. Texas Education Code Section 61.505F. Dr. Mike Reagan, Family Practice Advisory Committee Chair, will present this item. He and Elizabeth Mayer will be available to answer questions.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mike Reagan. I'm from Lubbock, Texas. I serve as the Chief Medical Officer for University Medical Center at Texas, the primary teaching hospital for Texas Tech. And I've had the pleasure of chairing the committee since 2019. And it's a great engaged group. And I'll tell you a little bit about our meeting on June the 10th. We considered a number of items. One of those was approval of 2 new family practice residency programs, one in Lufkin for Baylor and one in El Paso for Texas Tech. We also are recommending funding in Table 1, which is estimated to be 943 certified residents, each for an estimated funding of $8,530, which brings the operational grant total to just over $8 million. We also recommend funding 40 rural rotations and 3 public health rotations, and also funding for the Faculty Development Center at University of North Texas Health Science Center. We also considered and approved guidelines to align the funding use with the GME program. We reviewed written and financial reports for the activities for fiscal year 2024. And finally, we selected a chair and vice chair for the coming fiscal year. And I am happy to answer questions if you have any.
Do we have any questions? Okay, wonderful. Then do I have a motion to adopt the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee's recommendation relating to the distribution of funds trusteed to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to support family practice residency programs for fiscal year 2026, Texas Education Code Section 61.505F?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, agenda item 5K is consideration and possible action to terminate the memorandum of understanding by and between the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and the Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine, dated December 16th, 2019. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer any questions. Ms. Mayer.
Okay, so on December 16th, 2019, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and the Burrell College, the Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine entered into a memorandum of understanding in connection with Burrell's application for a certificate of authority to have clinical clerkship opportunities in El Paso. Burrell entered into the MOU to demonstrate its good faith and supplement its certificate of authority application. Specifically, the MOU set forth conditions for its clinical clerkships to avoid impeding the growth strategies of the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine at Texas Tech, University Health Science Center at El Paso, or other Texas medical schools for establishing clinical clerkship experiences in El Paso. Burrell is a participating member of the State Authorization Reciprocity Agreement, also known as SARA, under its home state of New Mexico. As a SARA participating institution, Burrell can offer distance education, including supervised field experiences in Texas, as long as its activities are within the parameters of the SARA policy. Burrell has stated it intends to follow the SARA policy, which would include a limiting placement of students in supervised field-based experiences to no more than 10 students from its Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree program, simultaneously per clinical site. Therefore, continuation of the MOU between the coordinating board and Burrell is no longer required. The commissioner recommends termination of the MOU. Happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions on this matter? Okay, well, that's great. Then do I have a motion for the approval to terminate the memorandum of understanding by and between the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine, dated December 16th, 2019?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Agenda item 5L is consideration and possible action to approve the grant award to the University of Texas at Arlington in the amount of $5,121,288 for the Nursing Shortage Reduction Program for the appropriation year 2025 grant cycle. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer questions.
So the Nursing Shortage Reduction Program authorized by the legislature requires the coordinating board to provide grant funding to Texas public and independent institutions of higher education with nursing programs, helping them expand their capacity to train more nursing professionals. So NSRP is funded annually using nursing graduation data from the previous 2 years to calculate the formula, which is based on 3 tiers of distribution, the growth, production, and faculty. And so based on this formula, the award amount for UT Arlington exceeds $5 million and therefore requires approval by the board under the Administrative Code Rule 1.16. So the Commissioner recommends approval of this item.
Okay, great. Any questions for Ms. Mayer? Do I have a motion to approve the grant award to the University of Texas at Arlington in the amount of $5,121,288 for the Nursing Shortage Reduction Program for the appropriation year 2025 grant cycle?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Agenda item 5M is the request for new degree programs. Members, representatives from each institution will be available to answer questions at tomorrow's quarterly board meeting. Removing the requirement for them to attend both committee and board meetings will reduce travel time and costs for the institutions. Okay, let's start with agenda item 5M1. It's consideration and possible action to approve the request from Texas A&M University San Antonio for a Doctor of Education in Education Leadership. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer questions.
Texas A&M University San Antonio is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Education, or EDD program in educational leadership that would begin in the fall of 2025. This is the first doctoral program proposed by the institution. The proposed program would be offered initially at 100% online, and then the institution plans to develop hybrid and in-person delivery options to students in San Antonio. The proposed degree focuses on the preparation of K-12 educational leaders by providing graduates with a unique set of multi-interdisciplinary knowledge and skills that consider educational environments as complex systems. Graduates will be prepared to meet the needs of school districts by filling district leadership positions with specializations in special education, bilingual education, and early childhood education, and needed skills in innovation, entrepreneurship, and business acumen. The Texas Workforce Commission projects a 13% increase in the need for K-12 education administrators from 2022 to 2032, with over 1,100 average annual openings. Texas public institutions awarded less than 450 doctoral degrees in educational leadership in 2024. And while a doctoral degree is not necessarily required for a career in educational leadership, a Hanover research report requested by the institution indicated that an increasing number of school leadership roles, such as a superintendent, require or prefer a doctoral degree. The program has 16 existing faculty members identified to teach courses and support dissertation research in the doctoral program, and plans to hire 2 additional faculty members with 100% of their time being dedicated to the program. The commissioner recommends the program for board approval.
Okay, do we have any questions for Ms. Mayer? If not, do I have a motion to approve the request from Texas A&M University San Antonio for a Doctor of Education in Education Leadership?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Agenda item 5M2, which is personally very exciting for me, is consideration and possible action to approve the request from Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, El Paso, for a Doctor of Philosophy, a PhD in Biomedical Science. Ms. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer questions.
Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center in El Paso is seeking approval to offer a PhD degree program in biomedical sciences that would begin in the spring of 2026. The proposed program would be offered in person to students in El Paso. The proposed PhD in biomedical sciences will be the only program on the U.S.-Mexico border preparing PhD-trained biomedical scientists to address the unique health disparities in the region. Graduates of the program may enter biomedical sciences, faculty jobs, do research in academia or biotech industry, serve in public health positions, work in a medical patent law office, design and test medical instruments, or do clinical research in translational medicine. The Texas Workforce Commission identifies healthcare and social assistance as the top field area for growth in Texas to 2030, and professional, scientific, and technical services as the 3rd largest. The healthcare sector overall is expected to grow 23%. In the El Paso region, the growth rate is expected to be 31%. Over 50% of the current institution's graduate school students are from El Paso, indicating a strong need for a program serving regional students. The program has 1 existing core faculty member plus 11 other faculty from across the institution who would contribute to this interdisciplinary program. Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso plans to hire 6 additional faculty over the next 5 years, all of whom would have 100% time dedicated to the program. The commissioner recommends the program for board approval.
Thank you, Ms. Mayer. Do we have any questions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the request from the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center at El Paso for a Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences? I'm not hearing a motion. Do we have a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 5M3 is consideration and possible action to approve the request from the University of Texas Health Sciences Center at Houston for a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Cognitive and Behavioral Sciences. Ms. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer questions.
The University of Texas Health Sciences Center, Houston, is seeking approval to offer a Doctorate of Philosophy degree program in cognitive and behavioral sciences that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be offered in person to students in Houston. The program would also be the first in Texas to integrate psychology, psychiatry, neuroscience, computational science, biochemistry, and genetics to understand how the brain regulates behavior. The PhD in Cognitive Behavioral Sciences program, addresses the growing need for advanced education in mental health sciences. Employment for medical scientists is projected to grow by 11% nationwide and 23% in Texas between 2023 and 2033, with an estimated 607 annual job openings in Texas alone. The proposed program will meet this growing demand by training students in cutting-edge experimental and data science methods related to mental health. The School of Behavioral Sciences currently has 9 faculty members to teach in the program and serve as student mentors. 4 of the faculty will have 50% of their time dedicated to the program. The institution plans to hire 2 additional faculty members to support the program. The program will be housed with the new UT Health Houston School of Behavioral Sciences, designed to improve access to quality behavioral health care by offering unique, exceptional, and in-demand graduate education programs, postdoctoral fellowships, and clinical internships. The commissioner recommends the program for board approval. Oh, we can't hear.
Do we have any questions? Okay, do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 5N is consideration and possible action to amend the current contract with Deloitte Consulting LLP to increase the total not to exceed amount from $2,963,423 to $7,963,423, including all optional renewals through August 31st, 2028, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 2155.088. Caitlin Yost, Assistant Commissioner for Contracts and Procurement, and Daniel Perez, Assistant Deputy Commissioner for Academic Affairs, will present this item and be available to answer any questions.
Morning. I'm Caitlin Yost, Assistant Commissioner for Contracts, Procurement, and Grants. With me is Daniel Perez, Assistant Deputy Commissioner for Academic Affairs. The coordinating board currently contracts with Deloitte Consulting LLP to provide IT managed services such as application development, support, and maintenance for the coordinating board suite of college and career advising tools, primarily including My Texas Future and Apply Texas. The coordinating board is currently seeking to increase our authority to spend under that contract by an additional $5 million. This is intended to both maintain the current support and maintenance, in addition to allow funding to further develop those applications and respond to certain legislative priorities that you'll hear about either later today or tomorrow. The approval is required under Texas Government Code 2155.088, as it represents a 10% increase to the current contract. It is also required under our Administrative Rules 1.16, as it now takes the total contract value over $5 million. We are happy to answer any questions, and we recommend approval. Daniel, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just as Caitlin was saying, we do have an opportunity to speak to the board tomorrow in a lot more detail about both the legislation that from this past session that affects these programs, and also to do a much more deep dive on our implementation and progress on My Texas Future, Direct Admissions, and Apply Texas. And those are the suite of products that this contract serves. Appreciate your continued support.
So this doesn't extend or change the contract term. It's merely adding services.
Correct.
Okay.
The total contract term, including all optional renewals, will still stay the same through August 31st, 2028.
Okay. Committee members, do we have any questions on this? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to amend the current contract with Deloitte Consulting LLP to increase the total not to exceed amount from $2,963,423 to $7,963,423, including all optional renewals through August 31, 2028, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 2155.088.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, the motion passes. Agenda items 5.0 are the proposed rules. Agenda items 5.01 through 5.010 were approved on consent. Agenda item 5.011 is consideration and possible action to adopt amendments to Board Rules Chapter 7, Subchapter B, Sections 7.52 and 7.57 concerning approval for participation in the State Authorization Reciprocity Agreement, SARA, for providing for private or independent institutions of higher education and private post-secondary educational institutions. Elizabeth Mayer will present this item and be available to answer any questions.
The coordinating board recommends adoption of amendments to the rules related to the out-of-state SARA participants. So these amendments are really intended to clarify the requirements for students enrolled in out-of-state SARA participating institutions who are placed at practicum or clinical sites within Texas. So this amendment limits the number of students enrolled in out-of-state SARA participating institutions who are placed simultaneously at practicum or clinical sites within Texas to 10 students per academic program as specified in the SARA policy manual. The Education Code Section 61.05121 and 61.05121 authorize the coordinating board to administer state participation in the State Authorization Reciprocity Agreements, or SARA, and to ensure the efficient and effective use of higher education resources. We did receive a couple of comments on this. So the first comment highlighted a concern regarding the description of out-of-state students placed at practicum or clinical sites. The entity shared that it is most likely Texas residents enrolled at out-of-state SARA participating institutions who are completing practicums. The coordinating board has provided clarity to the rule based upon the comment. And then there was another comment that was received proposing altering the language and the definition of a clinical site to clarify that there may be multiple clinical sites within a single organization if the organization has multiple locations or campuses, such as a hospital system. So the coordinating board agreed with the clarification and amended the definition accordingly to the adopted rules, and that is 7.523, in which that clarification occurred.
One question. So did we also clarify that if it's a Texas resident, are they still part of this limitation?
So in terms of like
The first comment?
The first comment. So if it's a Texas, so SARA is based upon where the institution is, not necessarily where the student is.
Right. So their concern was these are primarily Texas residents that are enrolled in out-of-state institutions operating here and then taking these clinical spots. Are they still subject to this limitation?
Yes. I mean, I think anyone, I mean, as long as
Anyone
you're in out of state, everybody is
Institution.
subject to the same limitation.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt amendments to Board Rules Chapter 7, Subchapter B, Sections 7.52 and 7.57 concerning approval for participation in the State Authorization Reciprocity Agreement, SARA, for private or independent institutions of higher education and private post-secondary educational institutions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? I didn't hear that. Did I get a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
No, second.
Okay, Yeah.
We're waiting on the second.
okay. I'm not sure if I heard that. Do we not have a second?
Motion. Anybody else?
Second from Mr. Anwar.
Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good. The motion passes. Agenda items 5012 through 5015 were approved on consent. Agenda item 6 is adjournment. Is there any further discussion? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn? No motion to adjourn. Everyone wants to hang out.
Second?
Okay, all those, we got a motion and all
Sorry.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We will now
Aye.
take a short break to allow staff to set up for the Agency Operations Committee meeting. The next meeting will begin shortly.